There we go. Hello, everybody.
The One Piece is real.
Can we get much higher, Bradley?
Can we get higher?
So,
What can we do to demonetize our videos? Nothing, because they're already demonetized.
Yes. Also, man, that cock piece meme it's sure moving.
Yeah.
Didn't it start with Patrick Fabian, aka Howard Hamlin, doing a cameo for it, and that's how that
I
meme
think
started?
so.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Now look,
Probably
there's no other channel on YouTube that already did the One Piece Better Call Saul crossover before we did, so
Yeah.
this should be boosting our views if the internet was fair.
We need to show more penis.
Yeah, I'll get on that.
All right.
All right, Joe, why don't you start by showing us that the One Piece is real? Y'all, this is a banger 3 stretch. I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add it to the annals of the Gear 5 stretch and the Roger stretch.
Annals.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Can you stop saying stretch so much?
I'll talk
Can you stop
about
saying
anal
anal?
stretching all I want. Anyway, speaking of demonetization. All right, y'all. 10:59. The matter involving Captain Kobe. This was the chapter focused on Amazon Lily, and it was nice that we got a chapter just fully focused on one location and one event. Oda likes to jump around a lot, so I appreciated this being focused.
Yeah, we also get some, a brief flashback as to why Yamato stayed, which satisfied Willer.
I mean, is this not exactly what I said would happen last time? But no, let's make actually 500 Reddit threads on something that is going to become irrelevant in 2 weeks. I can't stand you people.
Why did you drop the mind-controlled kids?
Here's my hot take on the Yamato situation as I repeat the same take as everyone else. Shut up. Just wait. Anyways, that aside, I'm really glad that there was more reasoning to Yamato. Now, Oda you could maybe make the argument where it's like, well, why didn't you just put that before it happened? I do like how this also explains why Yamato has to lie to Momo, because Zoro adds in that, Momo has a lot of pride, so you should keep that in mind when you give us the rejection or whatever. So I like that. I thought this was good. Bradley, did you also say that this was what you were looking for out of Yamato?
Yeah, I actually really liked this, not only because it meant she wouldn't be coming with us, but also because it provided a really good reason for why she's staying behind.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be like Odin, and Odin succeeded at pretty much everything he ever set out to do, except keeping his homeland safe, because he was out to explore the world. And so this is the one area where she can succeed where Odin failed.
Yeah.
And that's,
So
you have
it's funny
all
you
these
say that,
other
Bradley.
parallel storylines next to it, in the same chapter.
It's funny you say that, Bradley, because I think a year ago when Yamato first showed up and the things about is Yamato going to join the crew, I mentioned doesn't it make sense that he just stays and does what Odin couldn't do? That to me makes more sense.
Joe was preaching that for a while. It's
Let's go.
Yamato stays, protects the island, does what Odin could not, but Joe also added the caveat Momo would sail with us.
Now,
That's true. I did
The
think
truth
that,
is somewhere in the middle. We're all kind of
yeah.
right.
I'm always
Here's my
off by
big
a hair somewhere.
I hated this about the chapter, that I don't know, I love this justification for Yamato staying, but it didn't feel just kind of like a bait and switch with Oda.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was
It's
a bait and switch that lasted 2 chapters. So you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? And is it going to be as bad when someone's reading this in a volume? They read that, they're like, that's weird, and then they flip 2 chapters over and get the answer. That's where you have to.
Maybe I'm just suffering a weekly reader-itis.
Yeah. That's the other thing you have to keep in mind is Oda's a master of his craft, and you have to understand the medium that you are developing in. So Oda knows that if he leaves a cliffhanger between, I think it was between breaks, right? Between this one and the last chapter.
I think so.
It keeps you guessing on what's the next chapter going to unfold, because what we thought was going to happen didn't happen, and then he can come back and reestablish it. So it's just a method to keep a little bit.
There's give and take. I think Oda is a better volume writer than he is a weekly writer. The weekly experience is fun. But when you read it all as a volume is when I think One Piece actually reaches high status. Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
I see what.
I think Oda realizes that too, but like it's definitely like I think him and his editor take that into account. It's like if we do it this way, it will keep people satiated and like frothing at the mouth for like what's happening next in 2 weeks.
They were frothing in fucking anger. That's what they were frothing about.
Exactly. You just need to cause an illicit reaction to get people to stick around.
But
so when you go on those breaks, it keeps the attention going and doesn't let your manga fall off, especially when it's been going on for 20 plus years.
Speaking of things people were very crying about is we also got a Luffy Marco interaction here.
Yeah.
Now I do wish this was longer. Like, say the Yamato thing happened at the right time, we could have had 2 pages of this Marco interaction, which would have been a little cute. But I'm glad that Luffy and Marco talked. Like, Marco is a low-key MVP of this era. When we talk about, like, the entire story of One Piece, I think some respect needs to be put on that man's name. Because he really paved the way.
Kind of like Sengoku retired from the Marine side of that era. He's like, okay, you know what? I'm done with all the pirate shit. Y'all, I'm handing it off.
He seems like the new generation of Riley.
Yeah, I could see that. Speaking of Rayleigh, holy shit, I can't. He just shows up this chapter. But alright, let's talk about this entire standoff between Blackbeard, the Marines, and the Kuja pirates, which is like a really cool event. Like, this is that One Piece world building. The Straw Hats are not a part of this at all, but it is still very hype and people still get engaged in it, which I think is a credit to Oda. One of the things that we have to talk about for sure is the Seraphims, which is the SSG that have been talked about since the break between the acts. They're talked about how the SSGs...
The Super Saiyan gods?
Yeah, the Super Saiyan gods would replace the Warlord system completely. When I see this, I'm like, yeah, no, you're right. This will do it.
Yeah.
Because, like, he just gave us the tip of the iceberg. How deep does this shit go?
That's a little child Lunarian, right?
That is a child Mihawk Lunarian. And a child
Why is it a Mihawk Lunarian?
Because it's Mihawk.
Why is it Oh, wait.
They're like Lunarian clones of all the warlords?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. So, like, they're doing gene splicing, they're doing cloning, all of these little scientific things that have been built up in the story slowly through, like, very disconnected things are all coming together.
Bro, if they can do that with Lunarian DNA, what if they got DNA for, like, Orza's species or something?
And y'all, like, that would be fucking nuts. And, like, I think they already do, like, I think the numbers were an experiment using that DNA, so we've already seen that they can do that. Numbers being relevant in the story somehow still. Nothing will be when we talked about the numbers with Tyler, and he's like, who? What?
Numbers were dumb.
Those are good times. They were just there to get thrown around by Frankie and such.
Yeah.
Yo, how Meppo got turned to stone, though.
Yeah, he's
horny.
Is Kobe not horny, or did he just dodge the arrows? I want to believe he dodged the arrows.
I think everyone body blocked for him. I think that's what happened.
That would be cool. I mean, you can't really tell from how brief like the encounter is. About the Seraphims real quick. So, okay, we have 2 warlords. Let's say every warlord is viable. So now you can have Seraphim Jinbei, that we might have to fight Jinbei as a Lunarian in the future. You have Seraphim Doflamingo. Kid Doflamingo already had Conqueror Hockey and was a big dick swinger. You have Kid Boogie, which will be stronger than the real Boogie in Seraphim form, which is hilarious.
That'd be so funny.
Kid Weevil, that I hope looks like a Chad Whitebeard as a kid somehow. Fun fact about Weevil. Someone pointed out to me that One Piece, you know how Oda gives like blood types and there's like R and X and FR or something? There's always a correlation where the child has one from the parent, and it was revealed that Weevil's blood has no correlation with Whitebeard, so you can conclude that he is not actually Whitebeard's son.
That makes sense.
Little known fact. But okay, so you have those. But the Marines also had Kaido captured once upon a time, and we saw that like pretty recently ago.
Yeah. And King. Which is where the Lunarian
That's where I'm confused. So, like, this little child Lunarian with the wings that's on fire, you're saying that's Mihawk?
Yes, absolutely. 1,000%.
Why is Mihawk a Lunarian?
because they spliced Lunarian DNA with Mihawk's DNA and then made them cyborgs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but what makes it? I'm very confused
another
on where
drink.
this makes it Mihawk.
So if you move on later in the chapter, they mention that one of the Seraphim
Is
looks
Boa.
like Hancock, and this Seraphim cuts the island in half, like Mihawk has
with
cut
a
multiple.
cross sword like Mihawk's sword.
Yeah.
And he's got Mihawk's ringed eyes, where he's got like the Rinnegan. Only Mihawk and Im have that, and Zao.
Oh, y'all are ahead. I'm talking about the first one we see.
the first
That's
one's
the Boa
Boa.
child.
The first one's Boa.
The first
yes.
one's Boa.
Okay. The second one, why would that not be like that? Does look more like King, like through and through instead of Mihawk.
The sword would imply to me it's Mihawk because it's a cross sword. It has Mihawk's eye. That's the real takeaway.
Okay.
We've seen Mihawk as a kid in SBSs, and he looks like this. Actually,
Would this just be?
we've seen all the
like a-
warlords as kids before in the question corner, so that's
Would
like,
this just be like a fake version of Mihawk's sword?
yes, it is. It won't. It can't be the real one.
But it's still slicing islands in half.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
just the strength of the slash.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm
yeah,
with it now.
Excited.
We were on different pages.
Which is why we're here. We're all here to catch up together and have fun. I really like this.
I'm the stupid reader.
No, you're fine.
You know how like some RPGs have the character that has to ask the world questions, like the guy with amnesia who has to ask the simple questions.
Yes.
Thank you for your service, Tyler.
What's
I'm the
crossbow?
blonde guy
Come
from
on.
Persona. I get it.
Yeah, you're a Persona character. What I really like about this standoff between like Boa, Kobe, and Blackbeard is I think it elevates all three characters and makes them all look cool without like necessarily diminishing any of them. I don't know if y'all agree.
Yeah.
If you think someone came out looking cooler, like I think Boa, despite being
Hancock-
captured here, is such a badass.
Yeah.
They all look.
Boa
pretty
was just like,
good.
fucking kill it. Kill me. Do it. I don't care. Do it.
See,
I
like,
really like this image here because it reminds me of what we think went down at God Valley.
yeah,
incident.
dude. God Valley flashback, if we get it, is going to be nuts.
Like this seems very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
And then Rayleigh shows up, stops the fight. I do like how Rayleigh says I couldn't beat Blackbeard if I tried, though. I'm glad
Yeah.
that Oda set that precedent there. That
Was
light
I
powers
love
do.
that.
But he's still him showing up. Boa's got all his men hostage. I like Blackbeard's such a good villain because he just kind of like he has a plan, but he's also just winging it, and he takes his punches and his lumps, and he just kind of keeps rolling with it. He's so good.
The thing is that he's like an actual real life pirate, right?
Yeah.
Like he's doing like
I mean,
very piratey things.
His
He has an idea
crewmates-
what he would do.
his crewmates are insinuating bad 18 plus things to
Yeah.
Boa. So like that really shows that this is the pirate crew, like the nasty
Yeah.
one.
I also love his fit in this, where he's just like he's got no shirt, he's got the large jacket and the hat.
God, his design is fire as well. I
Yeah.
always like how he just has so many
That's a-
pistols.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another thing to note is like Blackbeard recognizes that they're Lunarians, and you might be asking why would he know what a Lunarian is? They're pretty secretive. Well, Blackbeard's hobby is history and archaeology, as stated
Yeah.
in SBS. So one can surmise that he reads a lot of books about like little known topics about history and like these niche things, which might also explain like his connection to rocks. Maybe he read something about rocks that inspired him. Like his ship is called the Saber de Zebek, and that's
Yeah.
that's Rock's name. So he's either Rock's son or like a fanboy or something like that.
I just realized that Luffy's like wanted poster picture from way back is a giant banner in the background of this panel.
Yeah, that was shown in a cover page too. It does make me question like Kobe should have walked in here and seen that and like be like, okay, that's a little weird. Like, are these?
Well,
good?
I mean, to be fair, a shit ton of stuff happened.
Yeah.
I don't think he has time to do that.
Yeah, this isn't fanboy hours. He's got orders to do, so he's got to do them.
Yeah.
And finally, Shakky is revealed to be the old Empress of Amazon Lily, which is so crazy to
Yeah.
me. It fits so well.
It was really funny.
It does.
I got
fit.
spoiled on this on Twitter, and we were at the dinner, and I was like, "Well, I learned a spicy spoiler about a character." He's like, "All right, Joe, tell me the character." I was like, "Shakky went." What?
Yeah, I was like, I think I guessed a character that was more reasonable. I was like, oh, is it Vegapunk? And you're like, no, it's Shakky. And I'm like, who? At this hour? So
What does
good.
it mean?
So it was even mentioned that the predecessors to Hancock also left for love. So I think this hard confirms that Shakky and Rayleigh are like an actual couple, which we've all
They're
guessed.
doinking.
They're doinking.
Yeah, they point.
Man, Rayleigh. Whew. You see that, Hunk?
Yeah.
That he's got that old man vibes, and the way Hancock is like resting on Rayleigh's knee, is Rayleigh potentially like her dad or like a father figure?
I think it's more of like she gets rescued by Fisher Tiger, gets the Amazon Lily, and then like Shakky mentors her very much in like a Shanks kind of scenario. Shakky has to leave, and then she takes up the throne of the pirate captain.
No, but
queen.
sure, but like, what's her relation to Rayleigh? Because Hancock being this close to a man, that's not Luffy. Like, this is
think
beyond
they
the
were
gag. This is character depth.
No,
that,
like
I
I
didn't
think
know more about.
I think it's like Rayleigh and probably knew Shakky and visited a lot for reasons, and like they just kind of it's like your stepdad, you know.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
Is Rayleigh my new dad?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the boa. He is. You
Yeah.
don't like it. Cause like he in between time skip, he just shows up with Luffy. It's like, yo, you're gonna train here, and all the Kuja pirates are like, all right.
And they were. And I always thought that was kind of weird. It's like Rayleigh just shows up and it's like no one bats an eye. Really.
Yeah. So like again, this slots in so well. I don't know if this was planned or if Oda's just doing his Oda thing, but
yeah,
very good twist. That wraps up that chapter.
Yeah.
On to
also Kobe got kidnapped, which is important. Because
so what do y'all think is going to happen with the Kobe situation?
I think it's gonna be the next Ace. Luffy gotta run into the
We gotta
government,
rescue him, yeah.
and they're gonna have another
gonna be-
war.
It's going to be God's Valley again, where it's going to be this generation's Garp and this generation's Roger have to team up against Blackbeard.
And then Luffy gets another scar. Then we go to a new area of the Grand Line.
And then Luffy has to go have a kid and wait 20 years and then die.
And then Goofy shows up.
Yeah.
You guys are all fucking clowns, you know that. I don't think Luffy's going to chase this because this chapter that we're about to talk about very much states, like Zoro reminds us, it's like, hey, we can't turn the ship around for every one of our allies that are in trouble right now. We gotta go.
You know
I
what?
don't think he's
Good
going to
point.
chase after this. I think he's going to run into Blackbeard, and that's just going to be a coincidence that happens.
I mean, his fate is to go fight Blackbeard one day. Their checkered fate of the D or whatever. And I think Kobe is just a bonus. But there's another layer to this that is even more important, okay? Aokiji works for Blackbeard, we were told in Punk Hazard, and we never saw what that really means and like why would he work for Blackbeard. If Aokiji is the leader of Sword going undercover and Kobe is a member of Sword, we're getting two Sword members together and then they'll do like a bust out and then we'll have like
You notice Aokiji's not at this raid? We only see 2 members.
Yeah, we actually don't see a lot of them, so I don't think he came with the full fleet to begin with. But we've never seen Aokiji like as part of the Blackbeard pirates, despite us being told that he is, or that he works with them. So I feel like it's setting up for something sword related, is what I'm throwing out. Basically,
Look at the beginning of this chapter. Luffy's throwing a tantrum, and we see Sea Kings in the background, just kind of scared to even approach this ship because of how much of a tantrum he's throwing.
That is, I didn't even notice this. Yeah, because the Sea King is like shocked and sweating. He's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna fuck with that."
Yes, we're on the next chapter. The Sea King's going, that guy needs to relax. This chapter is called fucking Luffy's Dream. If that is not the hypest chapter.
Second page, we got, ooh, Caribou!
And they already locked his ass up. They're like, no.
His buddy ass in a barrel.
People wanted Carrot to be in that barrel. So sorry for the Carrot fans.
That's their void storage, is that barrel. That's their void bag.
He's the void storage, so you're breaking the laws of conservation of matter here.
They just throw shit in that barrel and it's stored forever.
So I think he asked for a lift, and as I recall, like in a minor page in a recent chapter, so that's why they're ferrying him. Like,
but they keep him in the barrel. They're not even giving him the
this guy has so many secrets. Like, I really hope that a really good twist later in the story Tyler, do you remember Welfin from Hunter x Hunter?
Yeah.
I want Caribou to have like a Welfin moment where he has to like choose loyalty to Luffy over his life. I think that'd be fucking hilarious.
Dude, Caribou is the most important character in the story right now.
I wouldn't put it past it.
Caribou is the linchpin to every world secret that will be revealed.
And people are saying he probably works for Blackbeard. I actually think he works for Crocodile, and that's like a cool way to...
That's where you're all wrong.
No,
he works for the Celestial Dragons.
Such a dumbass.
He works for the newspaper.
He works for Cross Guild, so that way we have like a connection between Luffy and Cross Guild just beyond them.
Oh god, what if he did work for the newspaper?
Yeah.
Would Morgan's leak Pluton information? Is that too big news? I think Morgan's has.
I don't know.
I think Morgan's has some credibility to not do something so foolish. So many good gags in this section. I like Chopper recognizing Cobra, and I like them worrying about Vivi, especially Nami. Nami and Vivi had like such a sweet relationship.
An interesting thing about like Robin is like, you know, Robin was like an antagonist against Vivi and her people for like that whole arc.
Yeah.
So that's a weird like.
I wonder how Vivi reacted when she saw Robin's bounty poster as a straw hat. She's like, "You motherfuckers!"
No, we did see a reaction a long time ago. She's like, "Yeah, all right."
I don't remember. I could.
It was.
Was it maybe
This
in a
was
cover
after
page?
107.
Yeah. I mean,
I like how each character who joined after Alabasta gets their own panel of input about the subject.
Yeah, and like Frankie met Sabo very directly, so he gets to add in. Brooke just knows some kingdom shit because he's from a kingdom, I guess. And Jinbei always helpful, but
he knows about the government politics.
People are giving Zoro shit for this because Ace died. Zoro's right, y'all. I'm sorry. He's just saying the facts. Like, I don't think Luffy minds the fact that Ace died from his own decisions. He was more sad about the fact he couldn't stop it because he set out to do so. Like, you have to trust your allies. You have to trust that they're strong, and we have to finish this trip, or else this manga is going to be 35 years old by the time it's over, and Oda won't be.
I do like this panel of them calling him Green Kaido.
That's so fucking... Green Mom slays me.
And you know, if we can't...
fourth place, and then they immediately start fighting in the next panel.
If we can't justify going to save Sabo right now, then we can't justify going to save Kobe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And plus, like, if they're like, hey, let's go save Vivi, which is what they were talking about. Where the fuck is Vivi? Let's just go sail the sea and find Vivi somehow. That's not happening.
The log post will tell us.
No, they got those pieces of paper, man.
Vivi don't have a piece of paper.
Yeah,
her name's literally in the card name. Why wouldn't she have it?
What?
Vivi cards?
Okay, alright. You win this one, Tyler. Okay, so Robin does not tell Luffy about Kobe. Because Luffy's like, please, no, delegate the information for when I need it, for when the plot requires. Good. This is not only a convenient plot tactic, but also it works with Luffy's character, so that's good.
Yeah.
So, okay. I want to talk about this Luffy's dream scene, because, like, I had just the biggest smile when I read this. I want to note that it starts with Luffy talking about Sabo wanting everyone to be free. And then he's like, I swore an oath to him and Ace, just the three of us. And then Luffy says his dream for the first time to the crew. I want to dial it back a couple years at this point to when Bradley read the Luffy, Sabo, Ace flashback. And Luffy told them their dream. And I was like, Bradley, what do you think he said to them? And Bradley said, well, he just said Pirate King like always. And I was like, Bradley, why would they cut away when he said that so many times? I would like a formal apology for doubting me. You know,
dude, what the hell is the dream, dude?
And okay, so to talk about the dream, right? Roger had the same dream. And when he told Whitebeard and Odin, they had the same reactions as Ace and Sabo, and now the Straw Hats. What kind of dream is both ridiculous to the strongest part in the world and an 8-year-old child? That is, like, the most interesting part of this puzzle, is that, like, two very different men had this same dream, and it was ridiculous for both of them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
And then also, like, it elicits, like, a 1/3 response where, like, a third of your friends are going to think you're crazy. The other third are laughing about it, and then there's just you who is just excited and happy about
There's
it.
a lot to mine from the reactions too. Like,
Yeah.
Interesting. Like Usopp is like almost pissed. He's like, "How dare you? Like, you can't be serious about that."
I think he wants to have a big party with everyone in the world, and he can't do that unless he's the Pirate King.
I think Frankie's reaction's good. Like, it must be like something cool. Robin's is interesting. Whenever Luffy does dumb shit, Robin just smiles usually. She's like, "Oh, Luffy's so cute." Like, she's always quietly smiling. Here, she's genuinely shocked. Like, she just heard some life-changing shit.
It kind of almost looks like a connect the dots moment, where it's like a revelation.
That's what I thought, but I mean, we can't possibly know what she is.
Did you mention the Thousand Sunny even having a reaction?
And I thought that was interesting because we're about due time for the Thousand Sunny to have a Kabouter Man, like the the Going Merry did.
You think we're gonna get a new one or the same one?
It's gotta be a new one.
No one really knows how those things work. So.
Yeah, I think it has to be a new one because the old one said bye.
Yeah. Well, it's One Piece.
Yeah, true.
That's why I asked.
Well, I mean, I would like to think that it's like a spirit per ship. This thing barely comes up in the story. It's like so elusive, so I guess we'll see when we get there. And
Frankie's the fifth now, so who knows?
Oh man, this 2-pager is so good. But that's at the end of Luffy's dream, so what do y'all think it is? I think we've talked about this before, but how we feeling these days?
He needs to be king of the pirates in order to achieve his real dream.
Yes. Which, why? You know, and like, why couldn't Roger do it? I think my favorite take so far has been, I want to either throw the biggest party in the world, or I want to share sake with everyone in the world, which would fit really nicely into One Piece is Brink's brew theory, right? But like, I don't know if the reactions really line up to it. Like, why is Usopp acting like that? Zoro's reaction could be cute. He's like, "Huh? Did you say you're gonna share sake with everyone? I'm in." So maybe that could be it. I just like Usopp really throws me off here. But like
the weirdest one would be to live forever. Like that doesn't make sense. But then like it's the same time of like you get the clashing ideals of like living forever, literally. Like I assume Im is, and then the living forever as in like you're never forgotten. Yeah. Like you carry on your will. Sort of a thing.
Never Forgotten, which play nicely with Chopper's reaction, where he's like, "Wow, that reminds me of Hero Look." That'd be cool. Yeah. However, that doesn't fit Brooks' yo ho ho. That's hilarious. Like, that's so fucking funny. You want to live forever, you dork. Like, that doesn't fit.
I wonder if he wants to make everybody a part of his crew.
Ooh.
So nobody fights anymore.
I want everybody to be my Nakama.
Once again, One Piece, literally a pun. One Piece. Like I think I mentioned this to Willer like several years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I mean I don't know how well Oda is with English, but then again we had Raftail instead of Laugh-Tail for a long time.
Yeah.
So
you know, I'm reading these. I really like Tyler's. You know, come on, you know that's not possible. Maybe it is once I'm king of the pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like it. Good job. Throw that in your spreadsheet and smoke it, Tyler. I like it.
I have bad news.
No.
Whenever I updated my computer, I lost it.
It's a Google spreadsheet.
No, it was a Windows sticky note.
You deserve this.
You're fired. You've lost all of our content.
Bradley, you are the new theory keeper. I'm revoking Tyler's rights.
Oh God! All right, I got you.
I'm so
First
upset.
deal, make it a Google spreadsheet. Nothing else.
So the final part of this chapter. Well, actually, so much happened this chapter. God damn.
Yeah, dude.
The Sabo is making a risky call to the revolutionaries, and he's saying, "I didn't kill Cobra. We knew that much." But then he starts talking about the truth about Im. And Im walks by, crosses over a kingdom, and next thing we know, that kingdom no longer exists. This is the hypest, darkest shit in One Piece so far.
Damn.
Now,
wait, Im walks next to a kingdom?
Im walks next to a map and then crosses something off that map, and then something erases that island off of the map.
What page is this on?
This is page 13, bottom left is Im crossing it out. So, quiz time. Who knows what the Lulujia Kingdom is?
Not me.
No.
Well,
Did
That's,
you say where Ace's friend was from? The little girl?
yeah, Lulujia Kingdom is where the milkmaid
No!
that Ace helped that one time was from.
That was my favorite kingdom.
Well, Bradley, she's now atomized, so I hope you're happy.
No, you know what?
The other time we've seen the Lulujia Kingdom was in the Reverie arc. We saw Bello Betty and the person with the flag fruit and the other revolutionary leaders. They were freeing a country by having the people revolt against the king. That was King Shakky, and Princess Komain was the princess that Kobe saves when he redirects a torpedo that's like shot at a ship or something.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
during the Reverie, these people showed up, is basically that. So when the Gorosei say, like, he's unlucky, and then another one says it's simply destiny, I'm trying to, like, reason why they chose those words, rather. Were they going to already nuke this kingdom, and Sabo happened to walk into it? Or is it, Sabo happened to walk into it, it's a kingdom that was on our shit list already because they revolutionized, ergo we can erase it, and that's why he's unlucky. So like there's two ways you can read this.
I think it's simply because Sabo found out the secret.
Yeah, I think it's that. Like, it's kind of like looking at like Medusa. Like, if you look at your destiny, it's just to turn to stone.
No. If you read what every Gorosei says, it's Lulujia, my word, whom I see, an unlucky man, notice simply destiny. Why would they bring up like Lulujia being like? So either they were about to nuke it, or they can nuke it because it's no longer part of the world government. So
they locate trace them back to Lulujia with the transponder snails, and then they're discussing that. And
right,
so
but why is it an unlucky man that he stumbled upon Lulujia?
It's not unlucky, man. It's unlucky that not that he stumbled upon Lulujia, is that he found out and that they found him because he made a phone call. That's the unlucky part.
I think it might be the Willer thing.
Yeah.
Because why else would they show the revolution happening at the same time?
Yeah, that's true. Like, Oda set up for this kingdom being like a target list for them. So are they going to go on and erase the other 7 as well? Like, I think they mentioned 8 kingdoms had a revolution during the Reverie, so...
That's one of the 8 countries that revolted the other day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay, yeah. So, again, I think it's all feeding to the fact, like, he's unlucky because he's here for some reason. So, like, what the fuck is this, by the way? Is this Uranus? This is Uranus?
Yeah, I think I posted the wall. That's the sun that's on the wall of the Inaru arc.
If this is Uranus, it begs the question, why now? Why is it only now being... Why did they do, like, buster calls with warships to do this before? Like,
what?
Did they just get access or something?
That's what I'm thinking, but why?
Maybe... Wait, so... This entire world is made of islands, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as we can see, they're eavesdropping on this conversation. And they go, communications, listen to me. That kingdom never existed in the first place. We know that there is some type of power that can, like, erase minds, potentially. Is that a thing? Is that a concept in this manga, or am I thinking Attack on Titan?
You're thinking Attack on Titan, but some people have theorized that Imp has, like, a memory fruit, and, like, what we're seeing here is not a destruction, but, like, a teleportation. Like, a teleportation to another area, and that's, like, and then he'll make people actually forget about the kingdom.
I think this may have been happening the whole time, because it's like anybody who's on the island obviously doesn't leave to tell about another island, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's telling the Marines
could just be
that
massive
it doesn't exist.
happenstance. Yeah.
It's like, so there's like another level of theorizing. It's like, was Sabo on the island, or was he like maybe on a ship next to the island and he didn't get hit by the nuke or whatever? Looking at the angle of the light from everyone else, it's coming from above. From Sabo, it's coming from the side. So I guess I could see that. And he's like on a ship to the side, and he lived because of that. I would like to believe that if this is a true nuke, the fire fruit wouldn't survive it, because at that point, like, Logias have insane regeneration. But I guess we'll see. I do like the zooming in on.
Theory.
What was that?
Tyler posted a theory weeks ago is that Uranus was the thing that, like, it was all water, and they used it to create masses on the planet. So it's basically just like sending a mass of something down to create like an island basically for them to land on, and then they use Pluton to come down. But
are you saying this like a reverse shot where like it absorbed the mass? Because they're not
I
putting
mean,
any
it's
mass.
just a meteor.
Yes.
It's just a meteor falling on top of it. If it comes
they
from
say
atmosphere,
some
That
massive
is not a
object
meteor. That is not a meteor.
It's almost like some massive object is hovering just overhead.
I thought it was a spirit bomb.
It's a spirit bomb for sure, right? Like this looks just like when Eneru does his Kingdom Come, and it's like a giant lightning explosion.
Exactly.
I mean, that's that. I guess we'll find out. Because the thing is, this is so dark that I don't think they're actually dead. I'm keen to believe that they got teleported somewhere else because like Oda just went like, "Hey, I killed 8 people last arc," to "I killed an entire civilization in real time." Including Sabo potentially? No fucking way. Oda could never. His heart is
but
too
it did
soft.
destroy all the buildings because they're all destroyed. They're all gone.
That's where my teleportation theory goes away a little bit. So,
Yeah.
Joe pointed out that there are 16 rays of light coming down, which corresponds to Doflamingo's final attack, which is called 16 Holy Bullets of Marijois. There's a connection there, maybe, because Doflamingo knows the sacred treasure of Marijois.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that sacred treasure is, but if it's Uranus, he knows about it. And he named an attack after it. There's some correlation there. Very exciting times. And the chapter ends with the hottest new One Piece Treasure Cruise unit, Woven Hat Choppermon. Which this gag I thought was really funny. He's just like, "Hey, I got a cool hat. Hey guys," and he just gets flown away by the wind.
Yeah.
And Bonnie is in the Warm Eddy, and we'll talk about Bonnie.
Shocking.
As we
Finally.
talk about next chapter. So the only supernova that has not been plot relevant now is Rogue. So
Yeah. Wait. So Bonnie's here. Last time we saw her, she was in Mary Joy.
yes.
Yeah.
So why is she in this Eddy?
I think
with no crew?
Kuma swiped her away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Swiped
along
through the
with
egghead,
Cobra.
potentially.
which I think Cobra is confirmed dead, but I think he maybe swiped Vivi away.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, I'm echoing a little bit through you, by the way.
Okay. Let me turn myself down.
So yeah, that implies that Kuma did get some semblance of control back there at the end. But for this next chapter, I have been waiting, I think, 15 years for this chapter, so that's pretty exciting. Which makes this a great way to cap off this section of talk. So the crew gets split up, classic One Piece fashion.
Of course.
This shark is ginormous, by the way, because the Sunny is bigger than some giants, and this shark is much bigger than the Sunny. It's got a punk on it, so immediately it's Vegapunk vibes. We see a new function of the Sunny here with a rabbit screw. So there you go. You got carrot in a barrel after all for the carrot barrel fans. The crew gets split up, and I do like how they're split up. We'll talk about it a little later. But when I saw this giant robot, did anyone else think this was Frankie? And it's like, Frankie, you were holding out on us?
Oh, I did. Yes, I did too. I thought Frankie abandoned ship to get into this robot to go fight this thing.
And I was like, holy shit, this thing looks huge, Frankie. This is dope.
How do you fit that in the ship? Like, what the fuck?
Exactly, it's bigger than the ship. Of course, we were wrong. I do want to point out, the headpiece looks a lot like Evil Frankie that Oda drew, where Oda has this question corner thing where he's like, this is what the Straw Hats would be like if they took an evil path at the age of 40 and 60. And 50-year-old Frankie had a headpiece that looked just like this, so that's interesting. Frankie also designed his body after blueprints he found in that island he was in. That
Vegapunk slab.
Yeah, Vegapunk grew up in that island, so that makes sense why they have similar design elements. We cut back to Tashigi and G5 and the kids. There's my goat. Mocha, I believe is her name, the strongest little girl that ever was. And apparently they have drugs from Vegapunk that is helping them shrink down to normal size now. So there's hope for the kids yet. We get introduced to Joe's new favorite character, Vice Admiral Doll.
Yeah.
big thumbs up from Joe. She's great.
Vice Admiral Doll is just the doctor from Persona.
Exactly.
AKA one of the best Persona picks you could have.
Yeah.
We get introduced here to a new sword member, Hibari. I heard the people who really know Japanese say is that she speaks in an accent that only Akainu speaks in. So some people theorize she could be Akainu's daughter.
Cool.
And then there was a further joke of what if Kobe is dating her, so Kobe's banging Akainu's daughter, and it's a big fuck you to Akainu from the war. That'd be
That would be great.
And for that reason alone, I want her to be his daughter, because I think that would be...
It's interesting that Oda is now mentioning who is in Sword in the naval introductions.
Again,
So-
I think we're building up to like a proper thing with Sword with Aokiji and Kobe.
And Toshiga is not in Sword, which is an interesting
Hey, that is
prospect.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, no, that's good, because I need Smoker and Toshigi to make that decision on their own on screen. Like, I think there's too much storytelling with them for them to secretly be in Sword. We skipped something. We'll get to it at the end. Bonnie fan service, very nice.
Yes. Get that side boob action.
Very, very nice.
There is a... Bonnie was in the water as a child form. You could argue that if she's in the water, she would revert to her base form, which would imply she's originally a child. I prefer to believe that Bonnie's the old lady instead version that we see sometimes, and that's her true form.
It could be that, like, she changes form, but when she's in the water, she is stuck in whatever she's in.
Like, when Chopper goes in the water, he doesn't go back into reindeer form. Like, his body, like, in his mind, I think his base form is half.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's like she turned to a kid to sneak away and then, like, ended up in the eddy. Because, like, that makes sense. You turn small to, like, fit through something.
Exactly. I want to point out Luffy's reaction to when Bonnie asks about his white hair. He says, "Oh, that's what I look like when I'm free," which I think is such a good Luffy line. It's very fitting. He doesn't fully understand what he is, but he's like, "Oh, my heart is beating to the beat of freedom. I feel it." We have the new crew split. We got Chopper, Luffy, Jinbei, and Bonnie on one side, and the rest of the crew on the other side.
This is a hot group
This is
right
a good
here.
split.
I like this split because, man, this arc has so much potential for so many of the Straw Hats that didn't get much last arc. Like Chopper and Frankie, like, they have so much potential in this arc.
Like, I think...
What if we start getting dreams figured out this arc, and Chopper gets the all cure from Vegapunk? Works with Vegapunk to get the all cure.
If he worked with him, that'd be cool. But
Yeah.
Chopper
Or her.
definitely, or her. We'll talk about it. But Chopper definitely has to be part of the making process, I think.
Yeah.
What if, like, what would be really funny is that we do, like, a split, like, a mini split arc where, like, one half of the crew is, like, dealing with Vegapunk on the ship, and then we have Luffy and Jinbei, and they're just, like, there aren't... Like, you have Luffy and Jinbei. That's, like, the two strongest people on the ship, potentially, and they just go and fuck up this entire island and just deal with the whole arc by themselves, basically.
That'd be cute.
And,
This
like,
would definitely be a short arc, which is
Yeah,
kinda
and the
exciting.
crew...
They've got 1 and 3, and the ship has 2 and 4. You know?
Yeah. It balances out.
It is a good balance. I want to point out, the two Zoans of the crew are on the same side, and you got the two Paramecias of the crew on the other side. I also want to point out, Luffy, like, we're putting this here, Luffy doesn't know what his fruit is. Oda said that when we meet Vegapunk, we're going to get the truth of devil fruits. I think it is super deliberate that he put the two Zoans together, so that when Vegapunk actually... Because Vegapunk meets the other group first, because then he's going to get to Luffy, and that's when we got to find out the real truth. And he's going to be like, "Oh, you're a Zoan too, by the way." And Luffy goes, "Awooga," and then his eyes pop out, because they can now.
It turns white.
Why is Bonnie coming to give Vegapunk a piece of her mind?
Because Vegapunk made Kuma, and Bonnie is from the Sorbet Kingdom that Kuma used to be the ruler of.
Yeah.
So this also has the potential for Kuma flashback shit. Let's go. Or like an explanation of like why Kuma was considered a tyrant king back in his days. We could also get like a Kuma retrieval survival arc. That would be great. I do like my boy. But that leads us to the end where the crew meets Vegapunk. So we've gone over the theories. What is your leading theory for what this Vegapunk is?
Clone
This
body.
is Bulma.
We got clone body. We got
Bulma.
Bulma, so it's just Vegapunk. She's just a woman. Okay.
No, like Bulma is the daughter of a very prestigious scientist in Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
So, but it's still a scientist as well. So this is Bulma. This is like
You're saying we got clone daughter and
yes.
Tyler, what do you think?
It could be like a Rick and Morty situation where she's like, I turned myself into a hot chick, Morty. I'm hot chick Vegapunk.
We got clone daughter, Pickle Rick. I'm thinking android, so we're all on different corners.
I like Tyler's the best.
I gave myself a bussy Morty. I wanted to see what it was like.
I'm very interested to see what her coloring is.
I mean, it wouldn't be our first like gender changing going on.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, Oda's into that these days. He's very progressive.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to like Oda like always drew Vegapunk as an old man in the shadows, or he had old man language. I think that's a lot in the community. I don't think that holds a lot of water because
I think that holds a lot of water. Yeah, things change, but when has Oda made such a deviation where he's like, this character speaks like an old man, and is
I do think this is not the original Vegapunk. I think that's what everyone.
I mean, the daughter theory still fits, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's definitely either like his daughter, it's a robot android, it's a new body.
The reason I'm going android is the receiver on the left ear, by the way.
Well, it says Punk 02, so obviously it's not the original.
That's also the other thing.
One thing I want to point out that I'm curious about, I just now thought of it and I wonder if there's any connection. Probably not. But as she comes out, she says, another failure. Why isn't it possible to control the urges of living creatures?
Thank you. I almost didn't talk about this.
Ooh.
We had someone in the previous arc who could control the urges of living creatures.
Yeah.
Not only that,
Ama.
I feel like this is the through line this line is what we need to remember as we go throughout this entire arc. I think this arc is going to touch on the free will of Zoan fruits. And I feel like we're going to get into some weird stuff where we learn that the Zoan fruits can impact their users' personalities. We've actually seen that since way back when the carnivorous fruit eaters like Lucci and Jabra got into fights because they had carnivorous fruits. And now we're going to get into the question of like, Kaido asked, which one are you, Joy Boy, or like, who are you? And Luffy reacted with Monkey D. Luffy. I think we might get into some like, how much of Luffy is truly Luffy? How much of Luffy's dreams are truly his? We're going to get into stuff like that. We're also going to get into the Seraphim, most importantly, because the Seraphim were created as an answer to, like, hey, we can't control these warlords. They literally take over countries and terrorize them. They do whatever the fuck they want, and we give them a free pass. We're going to make these controllable children Seraphim. So how cool would it be if, for the final saga, some of it is giving even these clones free will and agency through the ultimate liberator, Luffy. And Luffy even talks about this is what I'm like when I'm free. Feel like we're going hard into freedom and free will this arc. So I'm just planting down my flag. Record keeper Bradley, please remember that. Record keeper
Noted.
Tyler, you may as well if you want to start. A new sheet.
What if we get a nice Water 7 arc where we're introduced to someone helping them out and then they turn just like what if Vegapunk never strays from their path of seeking advancement for the future and just is like has this sociopathic detachment where she becomes the bad guy at the end of the arc?
I completely see this coming. It'll be like kind of like when we fought Caesar, where it's not really a fight with Vegapunk, but I feel like Vegapunk will still be a gray morality kind of character by the end.
That, or this is just a a plot arc where we get nonstop exposition.
I mean, that was Zao, and I fucking love Zao, so I'm super down.
That could also work.
Yeah.
That guy's gonna have to update his fucking video and say like Egghead Island, one of the best it's ever made, 10 out of 10, and then whatever we're going into next.
You know, Wano wasn't so bad after all. There we go. Peak fiction, Kino. That about wraps us up. I wanted to ask y'all one more question before we do closing statements. How much do y'all know about the Rocky Port incident? It was mentioned in the Blackbeard Kobe interaction where Kobe says, because of your actions in the Rocky Port incident, I was able to take over Full Lead Island from Wang Zi.
Yeah.
Wang Zi is apparently a rocks pirate. So How much do y'all remember when that has been mentioned? Because that's not the first time we've heard of that.
I think it got mentioned on the Reverie arc when he saves the torpedo, and they say like, "You're Captain Cody, you're the hero." I think that's the other part that gets mentioned, but I can't remember anything else.
The stuff Willer said is about the extent of my knowledge, because every time it's mentioned, I have to look at the wiki article again, because I'm like, what is that again?
There's another character very important to the Rocky Port incident, and that character is Trafalgar D. Law, who became a warlord by delivering 100 pirate hearts in the Rocky Port incident. So, like, what the fuck happened there? Because, like, Kobe was there, so Sword was there. I very much like the Law as part of Sword Theory, and he's actually an undercover mercenary.
Water Law.
Well, his name is fucking Waterlaw D. Whatever.
Trafalgar D. Waterlaw.
There you go. So like they're like, but Blackbeard also benefited off of that, and he was there. So like, did Kobe work with Blackbeard? Like, did they both fight Wang Zi together? Like, what is the extent of how these three parties, we'll say Kobe and Sword, Law, and Blackbeard?
Also,
like,
Rocky Port.
Rocky Port, Rocks Pirates. What the fuck?
What if this entire time, who's the ice guy again?
Aokiji.
Aokiji is being held hostage by Blackbeard in his void, and he's making Kobe work for him in order to, like, say he's going to free him. And Kobe has to help out Blackbeard because this is the second time Kobe's been at a place with Blackbeard in the last 2 years.
True, because he was there in the Rocky Port. It's like there's something there. There's something sketchy there.
Was he there, or did like he cause a distraction that brought Wing Shi away or something?
That could be it. So I hope when we get some, we'll get like some clarification. I don't know to what extent. I would like a couple pages of flashback at least.
Yeah, it could be even like he fights the guy, he cuts his crew down by 100 people, and then Blackbeard's like, "Oh, great," and then walks into full of lead. It could be all those things.
Why is Kobe the hero of the incident? Like, there's some
it could have been
here.
It could have been a raid, like where like they were raiding the Rocky Port and he saved them or whatever. There's a lot raid missing.
Other thing I wanted
100-man raid.
I wanted to also bring up. There's a theory that the reason why they were able to fight the Uranus now or fire it now, and Bradley was like, "Yeah, why haven't we used this before?" Maybe you needed VV to trigger it. Like you need Shirahoshi to trigger Poseidon. VV was one of the posters in M's room. But that would be so incredibly dark if like they kidnap VV and then they force her to shoot the Uranus at Lulujia. That would be the darkest thing in One Piece so far. Unless it's a teleportation beam, in which case all of this works and VV's not evil and awful.
It could be like she just needs to have her hand plastered onto like the thumb pad or something. But that also then lines up with how all of the other weapons are with different kingdoms outside of Marijoa or require someone from outside Marijoa, where Shirahoshi's Pluton, Momo has... Shirahoshi is Neptune.
Momo has Pluton, and I like to think that the Pluton could attach to Zunisha's back.
Yeah.
And then, you know how Zunisha shoots water at its back like a cleaning? Yeah. It's actually cooling down the Pluton. Yeah. That's my favorite, connection of Zunisha and Pluton that I've seen.
And if you think about it, Vivi's family left. So what if they were the ones that, like, helped made Uranus or whatever? They're like, we're not going to be here because it's on Marijoa, so we're going to leave so no one can activate it, basically.
And now that we've kidnapped Vivi, we can activate it. So there's definitely legs to that theory. It's just like, if that is the case, for sure that was not a death beam, because that's too much blood to put on Vivi's hand, even if she was forced to it. Oda wouldn't write that kind of story.
But they're also supposed to be great weapons. But then again, this is a story where, like, a big tangent of it is that history is clouded and not 100% accurate. And it's up to people to find the truth in that situation.
Absolutely. There's also the chance that that's not the Uranus and that is Im's ability.
That could also be true.
The smite fruit or something?
Yeah, but that seems like... I don't know. We already have Fujitoras, which would have been, like, pretty close to that. Like, stuff
That was not a meteor, Joe. That was an energy beam, I promise you.
Yeah, it looks pretty energy-y to me.
I mean, who knows? Maybe we're wrong. But how would a meteor have those, like, strands of light coming down with it?
it's multiple meteors. Like it's just multiple things coming down.
If Oda
but-
wanted to draw like that, he wouldn't draw like one circle. He would have drawn like a bunch of like
Yeah.
bubbly circles.
It could also be a flying ship, or like because there's definitely mentioned there's something above them when they get to
Yeah,
that island.
true.
So there's something there. Like that's the thing.
Let's not forget that like Capone got sucked up by a weird flying moon with suction cups.
Oh yeah,
That
I
was
forgot that.
That has never been brought up before. I'll find a picture because like
Capone, the castle boy.
in the 3-day 2 wide portion of the story where like it's between the time skip, Capone just gets like sucked up by like a weird suction
Moon.
cup ship.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck that was.
It was a weird time. There's also like a cyclone like field as well in the middle of the ocean.
I like
that
when
had,
a
like, a
rogue
wave.
goes into an island that is lightning 100% of the time. How did he get through it? How did he make it through it?
How does anything exist there? Like what?
What do y'all think a rogue could do in the story? As like my final question. Now that we know Bonnie is going to be connected with Vegapunk's storyline, what is a rogue's purpose, if any? I doubt there would be none at this point.
Oh,
Get
dude,
punched.
there's nothing left for that dude. I'm saying he missed his chance.
Do you really think? Do you really think in One Piece, the long epic, there's nothing left for a rogue?
He
Do you
gets
really mean
Bellamy.
it?
You know what? If Mr. 3 can come back, maybe he can come back.
He never can. He doesn't come back. He never was there.
I think Uroge is our link to Anaru's return and the moon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
That's my theory, but
Yeah.
That's our best shot.
Also, didn't he get beat up by Kaido and then just sat on the cloud when Kaido killed
and
himself?
then Kaido committed
Yeah.
suicide and failed.
Yeah.
He's just
Like,
too good.
Also, I kind of think
That's
about
the last
now,
time we
Kaido-
saw a rogue. Actually, noting.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I kind of like it just finally clicked to me this connection, but like when we see first he tries to like fall and he makes a big hole when he crashes, and then when
Yeah.
he punches he goes into deep
Yeah.
earth.
Oda's
alright, cool.
Oda's brilliant. He punches people through holes.
Yes.
All right, gang. I think that wraps it up for today. Anything left y'all want to bring up?
No.
No, I'm good, man.
All right.
Go
Yeah.
One Piece. We'll
Sounds
be back.
Good. Good One Piece. Catch us next break week. Bye bye.
Very
Bye.
good.
Bye.